My wife and I farm nearly 150 acres at Tilton on the Hill. We've always been passionate about environmental matters and wildlife in particular, and we are incorporating those wildlife environmental objectives into our farm business, producing food. Oh, I really wish that people would understand that bees are not just honeybees. There's so many species of wild bees, and we need to really value those, to appreciate them and to encourage them in the countryside. The solitary bees have a range of behaviours. There are so many different species of solitary bees. There's one species of honeybee in the UK. There's more than 20 species of bumblebees, but more than 200 species of solitary bees. And you can imagine that those have different forms of behaviour. They're present at different times of the year. And so they'll be benefiting plants for which we need pollination. The Allerton Project's ecologist has carried out a landscape scale survey of wild bees in this area, on this farm and other farms in the local area. And what that shows is that there are some areas that have really high numbers of bees and of bee species. The vast majority of sites that he surveyed have really very few, and that's the problem we have in the landscape. That's the problem we have across lowland England. There are very few wild bees, and we need to encourage those. But as long as we've got a few sites in the landscape where there are good numbers and a range of species, then we can encourage those bees to numbers to build up at other sites as well. What's really important, if we're to get the bees from those sites where they're present in large numbers and a large number of species, we need to improve the connectivity between those sites and the other areas where there aren't so many. And so we need habitats such as hedges, woodland strips, flower margins, to create corridors for bumblebees and solitary bees to move throughout the countryside. Bees are really important for pollination, not just of the fruit trees that we have here, but for some of the crops that are grown on farmland as well. So it's good from a farm business perspective to encourage bees if you're growing those crops. But it's also important to encourage many species of wildlife, and bees are amongst those. And there are various areas on most farms which are not productive and can be used for creating habitat for bees and other wildlife. We've selected fruit trees that flower at a range of times throughout the year or throughout the growing period, so that the fruit is ripening throughout a period in the early autumn, late summer, early autumn, but also that's a range of flowering times as well for pollinating insects. So the idea is that there'll always be pollinating insects there to pollinate the fruit trees. Air Wick and WWF are helping projects like this one to help bring nature back.